start from scratch. So thanks guys for your patience again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Lois Kofi, take 2. Patience is a virtue when it comes to technology, and patience is a virtue with what everybody's going through right now. If you don't know me, my name is Lois Kofi. I've been in sales for over 20 years, and I'm a professional speaker, success coach, and serial entrepreneur. I've been, in a lot of different industries, but my number one passion is selling. And I was really reflecting a lot and having a lot of interviews. I've been on a lot of podcasts lately and talking to a lot of people about this pandemic. And it's really heightened more and more. 2 weeks ago, California shut us down. We're shelter in place. I've been fortunate because I've been working for myself from home for the last 5 years, pretty much exclusively. So if you don't know my background, that's just a nugget. I'm going to tell a little bit more about my story in just a moment, but I really want to make sure this is about you and your needs and what you want to get out of this today. So if anybody wants to shoot me a private message about any of your challenges, struggles, working from home right now, going through this pandemic, maybe you were just laid off, maybe you have friends who are struggling right now and you want to offer up some ideas, some words of encouragement. I'm going to be sharing with you some golden nuggets today, free content. I have some free gifts at the end, so I hope you can stay until the end. And I'm going to open it up for Q&A at the end. So please take copious notes. If you have any questions, you can shoot me a private message on the chat feature. And really want to offer up encouragement to you today to inspire you to get through this crazy, crazy time. So one thing that I always like to share with people, whether you've ever thought of yourself as a salesperson or not, if you've been in business, if you've been married, if you've dated, if you applied for a job, you were selling yourself, and ultimately I see sales as a service, and it's through helping serve people through relationships and those that you trust. Or if you were like me back in the day, I did a lot of door knocking, even cold calling, a ton of face-to-face, belly-to-belly networking. We call that the 3-foot rule. Anything that walked in front of me, I would talk to it. I'd even talk to animals, whatever, just because I love people. I love relationships. And now that I have children, I see them as salespeople. We're all in sales. And my goal has always been to not only help myself, but help other salespeople make an impact. And of course, make an income, because I have known with working with mentors who've made 6 to 7 figures in sales, some of them making 7 figures a month, that, sales is really truly the highest paid profession out there. So really, I want to go back to, I started sharing this a little bit earlier with you guys about my story. Prior to the recession, I was used to face-to-face, belly-to-belly. I did not work from home. I was used to going and networking and even knocking on doors, and was always going where the people are. That's obviously changed here and now. But before this pandemic, back in 2006, the world changed for me in a huge, huge way. And that's why I'm having a lot of deja vu lately with what's going on with the pandemic, because I'm seeing the whole world go through a lot of the things that I went through back in the Great Recession. So I actually had 3 streams of income. I was a real estate agent with a real estate sales team. I had a full-time salaried assistant. I had a mortgage company, business partners. We had employees, staff. We had a huge, gorgeous office in Tempe, Arizona that was, cost us a pretty penny, but we were making, anywhere from 40 to 50 grand a month, kind of at the height of that. And we started a real estate investment firm. And we had a team of partners and real estate people who were investing money in real estate properties. And of course, I was doing the same, because it was just what everybody was doing. And I learned a really good, valuable lesson from that. Never put all your eggs in one basket. I ended up losing everything because all of my assets, resources, income streams were tied to that bubble that burst. And, I had 3 foreclosures. I went through, I lost everything. My business partner ended up having a death in the family, and she left town and kind of left me holding the bag. And with those foreclosures, creditors, debtors, essentially you could say I was unemployed, lost my job, lost my mind. It was very, very traumatic. I went through depression, anxiety. So I know people who are going through that right now. All you have to do is turn on the news to feel depressed. You know, watching the unemployment rate go up. There's just a lot of negativity out there if you choose to focus on that. So what happened was I got to learn really fast how to work from home, how to sell virtually, and on a shoestring budget. Because remember, I lost all of my assets. I had foreclosure, bankruptcy, my credit was shot, and I had my car repossessed. So guess what? I had a bicycle, but I couldn't drive to networking meetings unless I wanted to be sweaty, which, you know, sometimes that worked, but most of the time it didn't. And I also, you know, could only afford to pay for my internet bill. And at that time I had a landline. This was, you know, cell phones were really big back then, but I didn't actually have the ability to pay for a cell phone. So I relied upon a landline. So it took me about 2 years to assimilate and get through some of my mental health challenges, some of my fear, my trauma. My mindset was truly shattered. And I actually had, you know, a lot of time on my hands. And fortunately, I found the right mentors. I found the right people who are already selling online, who are already selling just over the phone, who are already doing Skype, because this is before Zoom. This is before all of the tools that you guys have at your fingertips today. And through that process, I rose from the ashes. You know, fortunately, I grew up on a farm in Iowa, so I have a really great work ethic. And on the other side of that, you know, I was able to make multiple six figures virtually since 2008 and be able to start helping people do that. Little did I know that that skill set was going to be critical. And today I want to be able to share with you just all that I've learned, not everything, because we'd be here for like 5 days. But I want to share with you how to work from home, if that's your new normal, how to sell virtually, and how to really have a mindset and work through what your new normal may be. Because mindset, of course, is critical. So we know, and I want to give a shout out to Greg. Greg actually shared this this image with me. You've probably seen this floating around the internet. But how to get ready for a recession? Well, guess what? It's probably a little bit too late, because I talked to my economist friends. I talked to my financial advisors. I even talked to my classically trained Eastern metaphysical Chinese feng shui expert gurus. And they've all said it's happening. There's a 2 to 3 years recession coming. If you even want to say it's already started, there's going to be 4+ million unemployed people by summer. And it's time for them to pivot. It's time for a lot of us to pivot. I know I have already got a little stir crazy because I haven't been able to leave my house, do my networking, my normal stuff. But thankfully, all of these things you see here on this slide, and if anybody wants my slides, I'm happy to send them to you. All of these things on the right-hand side: minimize your fixed expenses, build an emergency fund, don't rely on one income source, start building more skills, get a side hustle, minimize your debts, update your resume. You can read that. It's basically stuff that I learned 2006, 2007, and 2008. So if you haven't already done that, if those things haven't been part of your normal, then this is your time. The silver lining here is, you know, these are things that we always want to, no matter whether there's a recession or not, these are the things that we want to put and implement into our tool belt. All right, we're back. Hello, hello. This is, I've never had this happen before. This is great. So hold on one second, guys. Get back to sharing my screen. So as I was saying, here are the 4 tips that I'm going to share with you guys that can and will impact your business growth. And maybe you just started, maybe you're starting a new business from home. Maybe you're being forced to do that like a lot of us. But these are the 4, if I had to summarize it into just 4 tips, these were the 4 tips that I wanted to share with you guys today. So number one is, of course, I call it build your BV. These are my two initials that I focus on every day, no matter what. Even if I'm having a bad day, even if I just have a funk like yesterday, I just wasn't feeling the greatest. I know that I pushed myself too hard and I needed to take a step back and just have a checkup from the neck up, have a mindset check in for myself and ask myself, how am I showing up and how did I get there? You know, so the B stands for building your belief. Every day, the first thing you do when you get out of bed, don't reach for your cell phone, right? The first thing that I did, I was very fortunate during the recession that helped me tremendously, that unfortunately I don't have this right now, but I didn't even own a TV back then. Remember, I was homeless for a while, so I pretty much lost everything. I didn't have a TV, so I did not pay attention to what was going on in the world. In fact, I thought I was the only one going through what I went through for quite some time until I started actually talking to people and sharing my story. I told someone once I felt really, really bad because I had 3 foreclosures until I heard that a guy had 92 foreclosures. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm not alone in this. So however you can build your belief first thing in the morning, every single day, meditation, prayer, reading some good books, listening to some good audios, all of those things are critical. Then of course the V, this is something that I've been doing, and I haven't been perfect. I might miss it, but writing your vision, casting your vision, this is something that I do with myself and with my clients. If you don't have a vision and know, it's like your roadmap, right? Write out your vision. What value do you have? What can you do to offer the world to make it great, to make things better for others? And write it out not once, but twice a day. I encourage people to write out first thing in the morning as part of your building your belief, first thing in the day. And then at the end of the day, I walk around, I'll show you here. I walk around with this clipboard as part of my tools. I have a document, I call it my daily compass. And every day I write down my vision at the top and my mission. And then I write down all the different things that I'm going to accomplish or commit to doing that day. And then at the end of the day, I revisit that vision in order to stay focused, in order to stay motivated. My second tip, of course, is to listen and form those relationships now. Dig your well before you're thirsty. And I'm going to assure, actually the form is in red because I have an acronym that I learned in my real estate days that I've been using ever since. And this is like the perfect time to develop new habits. If you are in sales and your sales aren't quite where you want them to be, oftentimes it's because of this one tip alone can make all the difference in the world for you. And if you are just starting a business, you know, maybe you already are thinking about, you know, how am I going to, you know, talk to people. Right now you can connect with so many people online, LinkedIn, social media. Pick one, pick two, and listen, reach out to people and ask, how are you? You know, just first check in. That's critically important because you never know what's going on in that person's life. I mean, I had a guy who was reaching out to me and he was prospecting me and he was pushing pretty hard on Facebook Messenger, and my brother had just died. Do you think I wanted to talk to him right then? No, he didn't check in first and say, hey, how's it going? How are you? He just went straight for the jugular. So, and I've done it. I've made that mistake because I'm so eager, so excited to help people. And, you know, I get it. But right now, especially you guys, I'm seeing people doing Facebook Lives right now where they're breaking down crying because they have the virus. They have the COVID-19. I've seen people post about their friends who've died and they're very, very young. And so just really be cognizant and listen and form the relationship. And form, if you don't know what that is, I'm actually going to type it out here really quickly. So F stands for friends and family, checking in with how are their friends and family. And this is what I did with every single real estate consultation back in the day, and I still do this to this day. When I'm meeting with someone, O is their occupation. Hey, how's your work? Are you still working? Did you lose your job? Or, you know, maybe they're open to another stream of income. We'll talk about that later. R is for recreation, or that's also considered fun. You know, what do they love to do? You know, maybe that's being hindered right now. You know, but being able to allow people to talk about what's going on and listening and just sitting and being with them is so critical. It's so critical. And then of course, what is their mission in life? What is it that they want to accomplish right now? What are their goals? What are their dreams? So I encourage you to use that acronym. Even if you're like me, when the real estate crash happened, I was like, okay, so now what? What am I going to do? Right? I was still listening. I was still meeting people. I was still talking to people. I was still connecting with people. And I just figured it out. All of a sudden, before you knew it, I created an online college course. Don't ask me how that happened. It opened up for me. And I taught that course for almost 7 years, and I got paid. I still monetize that college course to this day. And I created it during that time of recession, during that time of recovery, during that time of, I call it creativity. So right now it's all about connecting with people, meeting where they're at, and then also setting a goal. Right now I have a goal to authentically connect and form relationships with 10 to 20 people a day. Now that's my goal. Don't make my goal your goal. You could start with 1, start with 2, start with 5. So whatever your goal is, write it down and determine again, how are you going to connect with them? Is it phone? Is it Facebook Messenger? I do encourage you guys, this is just kind of my pet peeve. I don't believe you can have an authentic conversation with someone over Messenger or over text. I just don't. I don't. I schedule a meeting. I do a Zoom. I do check-ins. Last week alone, I was able to create about $1,800 in income just because I was checking in with people, not even selling. I was just checking in, and I created 2 new business partners, and I had a webinar where people were just coming in. And on that one, we were offering something to help people. We had an offer at the end. I don't have that today. I just have free stuff. But it was just because I made phone calls and I got people offline and connected with them in an authentic way that I was able to create an income. Part of that is also because I've taught people, this is what I do, massive follow-up. This is a time to take massive action. You know, you can take a day. I have a day every week. I just chill. I need that for my own spiritual time, my own recovery, because I'm kind of one of those workaholics, you know, Ironman, triathlon, recovering workaholic, right? So I know my limits. So you got to definitely find some time for you, even if it's 5 minutes every day, but, you know, maybe one day a week where you just kind of chill. But the rest of the time, it's game on for me. I learned that, you know, you got to dig your well before you're thirsty, and you got to have a daily plan, and the fortune is always in the follow-up. And that is so true with virtual selling, because there's a lot of distractions. People are chatting online right now like you wouldn't believe. And so you got to have a very distinct plan on how to follow up with people. I usually reach out to people 8 times. That's I have a 8-step follow-up protocol. We're not going to train you on that today, but ultimately, who can you call? Who can you encourage? And how are you going to follow up? So you have time right now. My follow-up plan, I created, it took me actually about 5 years to master it. If you don't have a follow-up plan, if you're just starting a new business, or you're just figuring out how to do this virtual selling, all I can say is don't throw spaghetti at the wall just to see what it sticks. Make sure you have a strategic plan. Build for the future. This is a great time to work on your habits, on how you're following up with people, how you're connecting with people, how you are creating value for people. How are you going to create value for people? Part of that massive follow-up is, do you have a CRM? What do you use? I can make some suggestions. There's some free ones out there. There's some that you can start for free and then you end up paying. If you don't have a CRM, this is a phenomenal time to research, and then just choose one. Just choose one. I've gone through different ones over my career, and I found a couple that work really, really phenomenal for me. And if you're asking, Lois, what the heck is a CRM? It's a client relationship manager. Usually the best ones allow you to send out emails so that you can do some email marketing. The best ones send you reminders of how you're going to follow up, when you're going to follow up. I get reminders emailed to me. I have a calendar inside of my CRM that tells me when to call someone, because otherwise you're going to go crazy. Facebook is a nice quote unquote CRM, if you want to call it that, but it's really just, mass chaos. You've got to have your connections and your contacts that you meet, whether you meet them online or whichever. So you need to remember notes and take notes. Remember earlier I talked about form, FORM. When you're connecting with people, there's no way you're going to remember all that stuff, right? So you want to remember, did they lose their job? You want to remember, is someone in their family, sick right now? Do you want to remember, what's going on in their life? So the next time you follow up, when the CRM tells you to follow up, you have a conversation piece. There's a saying, people don't, I'm going to hope I don't screw this up. People don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you know things about them, they're going to actually want to pick up your call, because they're going to be like, oh yeah, hey, that's Greg. He always remembers my birthday, or he always remembers stuff about me. I really like that guy, So research CRMs. Also, this is a great time. This is part of my, lead generation follow-up protocol, is creating a following. Create your own brand right now. What do you stand for? What do you believe in? I'm starting a new podcast. I'm calling it Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. And I'm gonna have one message that I share every week. Then I'm gonna interview someone from the health industry, someone from the wealth industry, and someone who's a business coach or a thought leader, or someone who has an expertise that I want to share with the world. You can have a YouTube channel. You can have tools like StreamYard. If you've never heard of that, drop me a note. I can refer you, and you can have a free account. But StreamYard allows me to stream to YouTube, Facebook, my fan page, to groups, all at one time. Obviously, there's Zoom. Zoom does that as well. You can start a blog. You can publish some ebooks. I'm going to be doing that this month. And of course, you can also sign up for affiliate programs. Affiliate programs goes back to that thought process of multiple streams of income. You can monetize your blog, you can sell your ebooks. And if you, I've already signed up for 2 affiliate programs. Basically what that means is I signed up, I get links that I can send to people and invite them to webinars like this. I can monetize and make money while I sleep. I have my own affiliate program. That's one of my goals. Is I'm setting that up right now with software so that I can refer people these links, and then they can sign up. And if they refer someone to me and they hire me as a coach, I can pay them a referral fee. So just go to YouTube, watch. There's all sorts of different affiliate programs out there. I'm not going to necessarily recommend any, but if you want to talk to me about that, I might have a few that I can recommend. The whole idea here is like that example that I shared with you before. I created, without even actually really planning on it, but it got me excited, and now I'm doing it more and more. When I created an ebook and I created an online course back in the recession, and I got paid for it for many, many, many years. If you create something once and you monetize it, it can be residual income for you. It can be that additional stream of revenue that when another recession comes, you future-proof and prevented yourself from losing out on a possibility. So my last tip for the day, and thank you guys for sitting with me through some technology glitches. Be a master steward of your time and energy. I just mentioned that yesterday. I hit a wall. I was tired. I just, scaled back, took a step back, and I actually looked at my plan, and I realized, I didn't take some time to reflect. Normally in the middle of the day, I like to have some reflection time, some meditation time. I didn't do that, and I paid the price for it. So structure is critical in your universe right now. Even if you're at home, maybe you lost your job, maybe you're just like trying to figure it out with, like me, like you heard my kids earlier, they're here all day, every day. So I actually have, you can't see it right now, but I actually have a whiteboard where I put my kids' schedule hour by hour on the clock, just like me. I'm old school. I still have a paper planner, but I also have my calendar on my phone. I also have, reminders and timers and alarms set on my phone, just to make sure that I don't forget something. I don't drop the ball. Or it's also kind of my checkup from the neck up of my boundaries, because we only have so many hours in a day. And I know I was fortunate in the recession. I didn't have TV, so I didn't get sucked into the news, right? Facebook was just born at that time. So I didn't have bad habits with social media. So whatever you can do to set your boundaries now during this time, this is a great time to build that structure. And I recommended a couple books here. If you can't see them, I'm gonna highlight them here. The 12-Week Year, phenomenal book written by Brian Moran. I actually got certified to teach on his content, and it's a New York Times bestseller. Changed my life. That was one of the things that I read after, actually about 5-6 years after the recession. I realized I gotten a little sloppy with my structure and my habits and my time because I was a stay-at-home mom. I had a lot going on, trying to figure it all out. And so I read that book, and I got more done in the next 6 months than I feel like I got in the previous 6 years, just from a standard of mastering that time use and the structure of my day. Another good book is Power of Full Engagement by Tony Schwartz. He actually wrote that book in 90 days. It's a great story. Everything he taught in there fits in alignment with kind of that saying, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. He was very structured with his time, and he took care of himself mentally, physically, spiritually. It does touch on balance and how to make sure, you also want to be pandemic proof from the standpoint of, you want to take care of your health, guys. I can't say that enough. So make sure every day you spend even just 5 to 10 minutes going for a walk, doing some jumping jacks, push-ups, something, just to keep your mind and your body more in alignment. So the last part of here, I just put this down on the bottom before I wrap it up, is, you can set a goal, set aside some time right now to learn a new skill. That's what I did back in the recession. That's what I'm doing again right now. Find some new tools. Again, whether it's YouTube, whether it's StreamYard, whether it's a CRM, whether it's, writing an ebook, learning how to publish an ebook and sell it on Amazon, whatever those examples are for you, brainstorm, write down some ideas, take some time today, and specifically finding a new skill that can make you some money. Because right now, whether we like it or not, at least here in California, and I think most of the country, we're still in lockdown until the end of April. My kids may not go back to school. So this is a new normal, and quite honestly, with the recession coming, everyone deserves to have a new skill that they can monetize So write down the tool I want to learn to use is, pick one, maybe pick two. So in closing, and then I'm going to open up for Q&A. I do have some more free webinars coming up here. I got another one today at 5 o'clock. I sincerely hope my my internet doesn't drop again. I've got one tomorrow morning, and these are all Pacific time, by the way. I got one today at 5 p.m., tomorrow at 8 a.m., and then next Wednesday at 7 p.m., I'm going to be bringing on special guest speaker Eric Lofholm, who is actually my mentor, who taught me in 2007 how to start using some of these tools, how to be building for the future, how to sell virtually. And I owe a lot of that first initial start to online selling and working from home to him. And so you can just go ahead and text me if you want any of those webinars, and then also text me. I have a free 2-module work from home mini course that I also would love to just give to you guys. If you have that interest for that, go ahead and text me. Does anybody have any questions on anything I shared? Or, I mean, there's a lot more to mastering working from home during this pandemic. Is there anything that I didn't cover that you guys want to open up? I'm open for questions right now. And you can just go ahead and either unmute yourself and ask it, or you can shoot it to me in the group chat.
This is Robert down in Houston. You did a great job. I really like the part about the goals and stuff. I've been trying to write goals for my day's work and go over them every morning. And so it's really helped me a lot to stay focused here at the, my home office. So it's working well on it.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. And if I mentioned this earlier, but if you want my free tool, I call it my daily compass and guide, and it's also a time management tool as well. Just shoot me a text or put your best email address in the group chat, and I'll email that to you. I mean, you may or may not need it, but it's just totally free, and I love giving it to people because it's my guiding light to keeping my mom brain and everything else focused.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions, thoughts, comments?
I wanted to mention, I just wanted to thank you for inviting us to this webinar and having us in your thoughts. I like what you're doing, helping people get, I really, honestly, aside from the health nature of the pandemic, I feel that it's actually kind of a really nice thing that's happening to the population at large, because it's forcing everyone to go back to normal. It got pretty haywire and it's starting to get really weird there. We were losing our connectivity with people because they were immersed in all these la things that didn't really bear any significance to reality. People were just getting way out there on all their fetishes and fantasies and stuff. And it's like now everybody just has to like look themselves in the mirror and start living more real, more authentically now. And that you break this down into showing the simplicity of the natural relationship building process. I mean, basically, these are high-end sales principles that have been really vetted out over time. It's not like reinventing the wheel. It's just understanding that there's a track and freight trains haul. And if we don't sit on the side trying to reinvent the wheel, or we don't get too starry-eyed with all the bells and whistles, and we just go back to what did we do in the 80s, right?
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah, oh, I know.
I sold t-shirts to my friends in high school, and it was like there was no internet, we didn't have phones. It was just like we're just going for it. And although now we have to do it virtually, your emphasis on the relationship building is really nice, and that you have the little simple 4 tips is really good. Um, with my program, I break it down into like the details of
Mhm.
what those things are at every step of the customer journey. But this is the fundamental part,
Mhm.
and it's pivotal, because this is the make it or break it part. Um, so although it seems really simple that you give 4 basic areas of concentration, that's like the 4 corners of a foundation of an enterprise,
Mhm.
really. Because without that ability to sell, there's not, or even connect with people. The connection part, like, you know, in my course, I've got like 6 steps that are, you have to make sure these things are in place.
Mhm.
And then if you do that, then if that person's supposed to buy, they will. And the relationship building part that you're putting the emphasis on here in listen and form, right? Form, that is the essential critical pivot. And there can't be enough emphasis put on this right now to the entire world of the internet, because everybody's putting a funnel together. Everybody's trying to get the marketing language dialed in. Everybody's trying to do sales copy, and there is no connectivity. So it doesn't matter. Like, people's websites are getting traffic, but there's not a leading into the sale. That there's not anything there that threads that person from
Mhm.
their living room and their computer and their problems to the solution. So threading it, it's like once you get the thread in the needle, then you can sew it. But we're not threading the needle. And
Mhm.
this right here is where the thread goes through the eye of the needle, is in the relationship building. And once you understand that, there's almost no going back. Like you said, you kind of naturally figured this out, is it was just necessary for you to do that,
Mhm.
given your circumstances. I did that as I was a kid, because I went on tour, on music festival tour, and I had to sell stickers to get by. And so it was always about, hey, how's it going? Like what's happening there? What you got there? You want to buy a sticker? And there's another gallon of gas, and it's like, boom, But there has to be that initial relationship connectivity that happens in the first place. So this number 2, listen and form, that's like the pivot of everything. If we could somehow magically endow everyone that is scrambled right now to see that this little pivot right here, getting the thread through the needle, is the
Mhm.
solution to everything in every enterprise.
Mhm.
So I honor your experience in that, and bringing that to the table and sharing that with us.
Thank you. Thank you. And I know you're a seasoned veteran too, so I appreciate that. Appreciate your feedback. Does anybody else have any other questions or anything before we wrap it up? My hope was that it created something for you, some value, even just a reminder. A lot of this isn't rocket science, guys. It's stood the test of time. It's just like you said, Gandalf. I know that a lot of us, including myself, because I got a little sloppy too. It's getting me back to the basics, back to the fundamentals. And there was one more slide I forgot to share, just so this reinforces this idea to you of kind of bringing it all together. The 2-module work from home mini course teaches you how to prospect, book appointments, deliver sales presentations from home, how to use Zoom, go to webinar and Skype, how to use social media and video to build your business, how to publish content, to build that following, to build that brand. So just text me with your email address and I can get it delivered to your inbox. And then next week, Wednesday night, I'm gonna hit that home a little bit harder with my guest speaker as well. So I always like to finish with a motivational quote. Um, be the inspiration for someone right now. Even if you don't feel like it. Like there's a time and a place to feel down and out, and just sit with that, right? Accept it and embrace it, because that's important too. This isn't the time to stuff down your emotions and just fake it till you make it 100% of the time. I'm very, very transparent that actually helped me get out of my depression and anxiety. It was just really figuring it out and not staying there, and actually reaching out and helping someone else and being with someone else. Because there's always someone with a worse problem. There's always someone with something going on. And if you can be that inspiration and encouragement, and then they can look at you and say, because of you, Sue, Robert, Greg, Gandalf, I didn't give up. Because you reached out to me, I had hope. I was encouraged. And it's that ripple effect, right? It's that boomerang law of the universe. Reaching out, helping someone without expecting anything in return is the real deal. So just that gentle reminder, if nothing else today, reach out to someone who might be hurting. Share with them some of this information, or brainstorm, mastermind. And of course, don't hesitate to reach out to me if I can brainstorm with you and help you. I'm all the better for it. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and log off, but be well, and look forward to seeing you guys online or connecting face-to-face again soon. Bye-bye for now.